yes, that's a stupid reason. Like, shut up. Like, don't say that. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, Apparently Ashley. Today we're talking about Married at First Sight, season 13, episode 9. So this week the episode was focused on being in love. And so the experts sent questions to the couples and they asked them, like, have they ever been in love before? What do they need and want from their partner in order to fall in love? And so each couple went through those questions and some interesting things stemmed from doing that activity. So we'll go ahead and just jump right into it. All right, so let's start with Michaela and Zack. So the beginning of the episode for them started off a little rocky because they were still trying to reconcile from last week's episode, because you remember the whole blow up, she don't know how to handle conflict, all that kind of stuff, right? So Zack was trying to reach out to her and she responded in some childish way, basically saying like, don't call me, just text me. So he was talking about like how she reacts when she's upset, and she was just kind of like, yeah, but like there's a cause for that. Like you have to look at why I'm reacting like that. And so two things. One, there's no accountability on Zack's part, because like Michaela does have a point. Like there is a reason she's reacting like this. So like he needs to analyze like, what am I doing for her to even be upset? Not necessarily how she expresses her being upset, but just like I made her upset. What happened for that to happen, right? But on the other end, Michaela, you don't need to have these extreme outbursts just because you're upset or frustrated or whatever it is, because that's not okay. Like, girl, you need to learn how to express your emotions in a healthier way, which she did acknowledge. She talked about how she'll just work on like verbalizing her emotions, not holding them in, so then they don't just like burst out of her randomly and in some like crazy wild way. Zack did say that like he's gonna work on being more self-reflective, because at the end of the day, he wants this to work. And he asked her the same thing and she was like, she didn't really give a straightforward answer. I wanted to be like, girl, yes or no. And she was just like, I mean, it just depends on what happens. But they ended on a good note. Like they're committed to trying to make this work. So when they were going through their love questions that the experts sent, it went well. Zack was saying how like he's never been in love before, and Michaela said she'd never been in love either, but she had potential to fall in love, but because of life circumstances, like people moving to another state, what have you, like she's never been in love. And so Zack talked about how like, you know, he never even thought he could be in love with the people he dated before, and how like he's had this checklist. We talked about checklist last week, and how like if she didn't meet anything on there, then he just like crossed them off. And he started talking about like what he wanted in his wife, and it was like loyalty and being trustworthy and being honest and ambitious and being good looking. And so like I was like, these are not bad things to have on your checklist. Like these are like reasonable things that I think all of us want in our partner. But then Michaela was like, that's just a lot. Like I don't know, like, oh, I could maybe do 2 or 3 of those things, but like some of those are like a little crazy. And I'm like, girl, no, like that's, I mean, I don't know, maybe she think it's crazy to be mature, clearly. But yeah, but I mean, they wrapped it up by saying like, you know, these are the type of things we need to do to continue to get back where we were during the first week of our marriage, because we kind of didn't fell off a cliff and we need to get back up. So overall, they're doing okay. Oh, they did have this like cute cooking date night type thing. So they were on Zoom with this chef and they were cooking shrimp scampi. And the way Michaela was seasoning that sauce, like she might as well just like open the whole cap off and just like pour the whole thing in there. Zack was just like, we clearly need to work on this. Like we have strengths and weaknesses in the kitchen, and your weakness is seasoning. So it had me thinking, what do y'all think makes a good cook? Is it how you season or how you actually cook? Like bake it, grill it, fry it, like if you're good at that type of thing, you know what I'm saying? Y'all let me know below, what makes the cook a good cook? How they season it or how they cook it? Because you could season it really well, but like if your chicken's not cooked all the way through, then are you a good cook? Let me know. All right, let's move on to Bao and Johnny. So they had a pretty good episode this week as well. They did start off a little rocky too, because they were still talking about how Johnny just kind of like shuts down and runs away, and Bao just started saying these like comments that came off very judgmental to Johnny, and he was like, I really feel like you're just assuming how I'm feeling instead of just asking me if that's how I feel. And I was like, has Johnny been a fly on the wall in my relationship? Because I've literally gone through this same thing, because I had this tendency to just be like, well, I think you're feeling this and I think you're thinking like this. And my boyfriend had to tell me like, why don't you just ask me if that's how I'm feeling? And so that's something that I've definitely had to work on, instead of me just like assuming he's thinking X, Y, and Z about me, just being like, hey, like, how do you feel about this? Or like, when I did this, what did you think about that? Because I can just create this whole story in my head and just run with it. So they did have sex, and you can just tell like their like physical chemistry was just different. Like even the way they kissed when they greeted each other, it was like them like longer lingering kisses, and I was like, okay. But he was still getting like annoyed with her throughout the episode, because like they had this painting night and she was like super anal about her painting, and she was like, no, it has to be like this, and like, oh my gosh, I need it to be a darker shade of blah blah blah. And he was just like, oh my gosh, like she just needs to chill and relax. But I'm like, Johnny, you need to relax, because let that girl be who she is. Like, it's okay. Like, don't run and leave because she's super high strung about this. Okay, they seem fine overall. All right, let's move on to Myrla and Gil. So we all know this about Myrla, that she just says how she feels. She's very particular about things, and she continued to do that in this episode. She spares no feelings when she speaks her mind. And what I noticed is that like she's not really appreciating the gestures that Gil is doing for her. So like an example is, she was talking to Rachel, and Rachel noticed that Myrla has like one of those silicone rings on her finger, and Myrla was like, yeah, because you know, when working out, like I don't want to scratch it, or like it just feels uncomfortable. And so Gil bought her one of those rings, and she was kind of just like, yeah, I guess it's cute because he bought me this ring or whatever. And Rachel was like, girl, that is cute. And Rachel did say like, I don't know if Myrla's just like trying to act like she don't think it's cute, but like, girl, it's cute. And I'm like, yeah, that's like a thoughtful, small gesture thing to do. Another example is Myrla was laying in the bed, and Gil was like, I'm about to give you a foot massage. And she was like, okay, cool. And so he's giving her the foot massage, asking what kind of pressure she wants. And she was just like, you know, I really only like these when my feet hurt, but my feet don't hurt because I've been working from home. And he was just like, okay, like, and she's like, I mean, I'd rate your foot massage like a 5, like we could work on this. And I'm just like, girl, this man is rubbing your feet, and you over here talking about like, I don't really need this. Like, okay, girl, okay. They did have a little bit of tension later in the episode, because they went out on a dinner date to this fancy restaurant, and Gil was kind of like, this is way out of my comfort zone. Like, I would never choose to go here. And he asked her, like, did you even think about if I would like this place when you picked to go here? And she was like, no. And he was just like, you know, I really prefer to just like cook my food. Like, I don't really need to go out to eat all the time like that. And like my eyes kind of like widened, because I was like, your girl loves going out to eat, but I mean, okay, we can eat in to save some money, I guess. She was like, I really do love going to brunch, so like I at least want to do that every week. And so he was just like, every week you want to go to brunch? He was saying that going out to eat twice a month is a lot. And I was like, that's a lot? Like, me personally, I feel like I don't think there's anything wrong if you go on a date with your person once a week. So for him to be like twice a month is a lot. Like, I don't know. That's just not my preference. So he did refer back to like their question card from the experts, and he was saying like, what I need from you in order for me to fall in love is to feel wanted. Like, I don't want to feel like you'd be happy with just anybody sitting across from you at this table. Like, I want you to be excited that it's me sitting across from you. Like, you're not just happy that you're married, like you're happy that you're married to me, which is a very valid feeling. Like, I definitely understand where he's coming from with that. And her response was like, well, I really want you to go to brunch with me. And I was like, oh my God, I hope that was an edit, because if that was her response, like, girl, you are so insensitive. Like, why would you say that? So yeah, they definitely got some stuff to work through. Like, Myrla needs to work on making this man feel wanted, because based on comments I've been seeing on my videos and just other reviews and reactions and stuff, the ladies are gonna be chasing after Gil, okay? All right, let's move on to Brett and Ryan. So I actually have something for them today. And I felt kind of bad for her because she just doesn't feel like Brett likes her. Like, she doesn't know how he feels about her or anything like that. And so when they were talking through the questions, he was like, in the past, women have left him because he's taken too long to like open up to them emotionally. And so Brett was like, you know, I can be patient, but I'm not about to sit around here forever waiting for you to tell me how you feel. And so Ryan just kept saying like, I'm waiting for this like spark. Like, I really want to feel this certain feeling for her, but like, I just don't. And Brett is just like, I don't know if he's waiting for butterflies or like what he's waiting for. But Pastor Cal said something really good where he was like, a lot of the times your feelings follow your actions. So you have to put into action how you want to feel, and then eventually you'll just start feeling that way. And so Brett was saying like, you can't just hope that this feeling falls into your lap. Like, what are you doing to get there? And so I don't know. I don't think Ryan really likes her. I think he's trying to convince himself that he does. And it might just start from the whole like physical aspect, because they both made it clear that they're not each other's typical type. But I do agree that like, what is he doing in order to try to get to this feeling, instead of just like hoping that every day he wakes up and that one day it'll be like, oh, now I feel this spark for her. Like, no, you got to do something about it. But Brett did say one thing where I was kind of like, because they were all at a barbecue together at Jose's house. And she was like, you know, being around the other couples, it makes me feel like me and Ryan are behind. And I was just like, girl, see, this is just proof that like you need to stay in your own lane and mind your business, because you don't know that like Michaela and Zack have been over here arguing and stuff, or that Myrla and Gil are over here struggling with feeling wanted. And so it's just like, people are gonna like put up these fronts when they're in front of other people, but like, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. So like, don't compare yourself to them, girl. Like, it's okay. Don't feel like you're behind. All right, let's move on to Rachel and Jose. So one of the big things with them is that Jose talks a lot. I think he talks a lot about himself. And Rachel was like, hey, I need you to listen, okay? Because it seems like he's just listening to respond instead of listening to understand. And I think he's just too consumed with like his own thoughts about himself to listen to what Rachel is saying to him. And he kept trying to like say, it's because I'm a man. And he was just like, I know that's a cop out. And I'm just like, yes, that's a stupid reason. Like, shut up. Like, don't say that. He did bring back up the whole infidelity thing. So I don't know if y'all remember, a couple episodes ago, they were on that boat on the honeymoon and they were playing Never Have I Ever. And Rachel had said that she cheated before. And she was like, yeah, it was in her relationship that she was in for like 8 years. It happened when they were on their second year together. She was at a bar, met someone from her past. She was drunk, kissed him. There you go. And she was like, according to her, that was the only time that she did that. She was forgiven. And so she was like, I learned like never to put myself in those situations again. So Jose was kind of like, you know, how can I trust like going forward, you're not going to do something like that again? And she was like, well, you just gonna have to trust me, because like, honestly, what kind of answer did he want her to give? Because he had said that like, you know, once a cheater, always a cheater. And I'm just like, you're not really giving her room to grow when saying that. And also this happened at least 6 to 7 years ago when she did this. And so like, she's a completely different person from that. I just think he's not really giving her enough grace in this situation. And he's just like, oh, she cheated before, she's gonna cheat on me. When it's like, you need to get to learn the person that she is now and stop holding her past against her when you didn't even know who that past person was, you know? Oh, and they did say that they love each other. So that was cute. At first she was kind of like, oh yeah, I told him that I love him. And then he didn't say it back. And then she was like, just kidding, he said it back. And so we will see where that takes them, if they truly feel that way about each other. So that is it for all the couples, but I did have like another just like question that I was thinking about throughout the episode, because like I had said, the experts sent over these cards with these questions pertaining to falling in love and being in love and all this stuff. And I was thinking about how do I define love? And it's funny because I was actually having this conversation like a week or two ago. And I feel like when I love someone, it's based off, like I look at it as like the action, like I am showing you that I love you, therefore I love you. And another question that came up throughout the episode was like, do you choose to be in love with someone, or do you just kind of like fall into it. And I believe that you choose to love someone because when you're doing actions for them, you're choosing to do those actions. Like, I don't think it's just like oh, I had no control over this, like, now I love you. Like, I don't think about it in that way. So like, what do y'all think? Do you think that when you're in love with someone, it's a choice? Or do you think you kind of just like fall into it and you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I love you? Like, let me know below how y'all feel about the whole love conversation. All right, y'all, that wraps up my review of Married at First Sight, season 13, episode 9. If you are not already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and push that button below. Don't forget to like this video, comment below your thoughts and opinions on everything going on, and I will see y'all next week. Bye.